is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It's Thursday, June 15th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, man?
What's up, man? What's up, everybody? Good to see everybody again. Just got done with Dudes Who Bet Sports. Now we're on to Blinkers Off. Should be a good show. I hope we can have as much fun, Jared. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if you can raise that level of fun.
Well, this is the latest we've done one in a while. So these 7 o'clock shows, you never know how these are going to go. I'm seeing what are the betting odds that Jared continues the show theme today, and where's the red? I did not know about that, so I apologize. 5-1. Sorry, Mike, didn't get that one, but no, I got my gray OG handicapper shirt. What are you wearing? What is that? Is that an OG?
No, this is Rags, who was on the last show. Actually, he buys our $20 package. He's had a lot of luck, so he sent me a Boeing shirt. You can see on the sleeve there. So
look at you.
I said, "Yes, sir. I will wear that," and I appreciate that. So
the one thing about us is that in our team is that we've never turned down a free shirt. No. Well, let's be clear. We've never turned down free anything. No. So free shirts are what it's been. There was a point where we were wearing Fairmont University shirts. No one knew, no one knew who that was, but we still wore them. If you send me something free, I will wear it and I will love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, he sent it to me. He's like, "Hey, would you wear it on a show?" I was like, "I'll wear it like every week on a show somewhere."
I'll wear it, but I'm not on a show.
It's in there. Yeah, it's in the rotation now. Come on.
Well, it's good to be here. It's good to have have Blinkers Off back after post Triple Crown. So today's show, we're going to kind of look at, I think you and I both, I know we've talked a lot about it on different shows, but it's like, just put a bow on this, move on. I don't know about you, but I was, as soon as the Belmont was over, Tappa Trice didn't get the job done for me. I was like, you know what? Good riddance to this Triple Crown trail. I'm over it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It is what it is, right? It was just a season full of ups and downs and some weird situations, but it's been fun, man. It's been a lot of fun covering it. I think looking back at it, it's like, wow, we got some cool stories out of it. That's for sure. So, look, Archangelo just ran fantastic, and Forte ran really well as well. They just couldn't quite get there. I don't think he was quite ready, and Archangelo was super ready. He was just fantastic.
Yeah, so we're gonna I'd ask you now, but we'll wait. Just kind of get into some of the, which of the three was, some of the best performance of the three. Which ones are we excited about moving forward? Which ones are kind of like a whatever. Horses that didn't win, maybe that, that we think might be, really good later in the year. Exactly, or more closely this like next 2-3 months at Saratoga, Del Mar, and then of course move into the Breeders' Cup. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Do we want to do this now or okay? So let's just go ahead and give because you and I both are watching games right now during this. The best bets. The best bets is we've had it going for a while. If you go to racingdudes.com, just look on the main menu there, just look for best bets. But we're kind of officially launching it, promoting it, pushing it out there. And basically you just get myself, Halterman, the whole team, Magic, Papa Dude, Dr. Miranda, Vinny, everyone's on there. Everyone's kind of like top plays of each day, whether it be sports, MLB, NBA. Of course, the NBA finals are over now, but when football rolls around, of course, horse racing, we do a bunch of horse racing, of course, but everyone always is emailing us asking, hey, like you bought, I bought your package or whatever, and it's like, I don't know what to play or which one do you like most. Well, now like if you say, what do you like most today? That's exactly what I like most. Not only what I like most, what I'm playing today. So the best bets page, racingdudes.com, just click on best bets every day. And that's the thing too, like sometimes Halterman might have 6, 7. Sometimes, Sunday, I don't think you had any. It just kind of depends on what you like.
Yeah, it's a great page. Like I said, to get other people involved in it, other people that want to put their picks out there, we can put them on the website there, and they've got their opportunities. So it's fun. We keep track of all the records, all the profits or losses. We got leaderboards, everything like that. So anything you need to know is on there about how each handicapper is doing. You could search by how they doing this week, how they're doing overall, how they've done the last month, things like that. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, I think it's like I said, we do a lot of racing on there, and but for people like my dad and all of us, kind of give some picks for other stuff that we do well at, right? And so sports is a
Yeah.
big one for all of us. We have sports picks, and it's really cool. Like Magic does CFL, and he does really well. He can do CFL picks now, so it's a really cool thing to do. We can kind of expand from horse racing a little bit. And like I said, we'll have a lot of horse racing on there too, but kind of give everybody their opportunity for their own little niche. And I think people are having fun with it. Now we're kind of promoting it out there, and people can really start to be aware that it's out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we just got this going the last month or so, and obviously it it's funny, not you're talking to guys that are very much not baseball guys, um, and when you got this going, and of course you're making bets, and it's like, yeah, I'll watch baseball. It's amazing what betting does, and obviously when football gets here, it will be nuts. But yeah, you can see everything here. Um, as far as what we've hit, what we haven't hit, and even the leaderboard here, you can narrow it down to in AHL or whatever. Um, you can go down to up here to you can click on a name like Halterman's. He's got it's got not just the plays that he's got available or right now, but also recent pick history, what's hit, what hasn't. Man, you're three in a row misses.
Yeah, I know. I missed the last one last night and two already today. So missed by one run all three games.
Nice. It's
Yeah.
brutal to watch some of these games,
Uh,
especially when you don't give a shit about the teams. Um, I learned a lesson too a couple weeks back. I was like, I'm never betting the Cardinals ever again. And
ooh.
I texted you the other day. I said, can't do it. Cannot do it anymore. That is, if you, especially because I like to look at, I do a lot more for myself. I do a lot more of the, like props, whereas you're more teams. Like I like to, strike over strikeouts, under strikeouts, over
Yeah.
runs, that kind of stuff. And it's brutal when you have the Cardinals and you have them like at plus 4.5 or 4.5 over for the run total, and you just sit there and watch every inning have two or one guy on base and never get a run in. It's absolutely brutal. And I finally had enough with it. So
They're so
yeah,
bad.
I don't know. I don't know. Dennis has had a rough time with it.
Well, he quit trying too. That's the other problem. Like he hasn't put on a bet in 10 days as I look at it. So yeah, he got a little frustrated, but look, I mean, it can happen to anybody. You look at my total there for the time we've been doing it, I'm up 1,800, but I was up 2,000 going into the day, and I've been up to 2,100 at times. So you go up and down with this stuff, and you just, if you lose, you just keep going. But as long as you keep doing the same thing, as far as what you believe in, and making positive expected value bets, you'll be okay. You're going to go up and down, but you'll be long term, you'll be fine.
Yeah, dude. The other day I had the Heat first quarter money line plus 200, which was nuts. I can't believe he got plus 200, which cash closely, but cash. Then I had Max Struss over 1.5 assists, and like the dude had one assist like first part of the game. I was like, this is bank that one too. He had one. He played the only one that played more minutes on that team that night was Jimmy Butler,
Yeah.
and he stayed at one assist the whole game. Those things, but I love those kind of bets. You're more of a win kind of better. I like to play those kind mostly so I can. Ideally, I can get a game over with earlier, so I don't have to. I can stop watching it.
Yeah, no, I mean that was horrible, and I thought you had one assist in the first minute of the game. Basically, I thought, oh yeah, you got this with no problem. Um, I think the big thing, and we knew this coming in, but now it's posted right there on the website for people to see. Look at Jared's record: 23-22. Look at his profit:
Yeah,
$5,713. Now look at Vinny's record: 27-31. $2,100 profit. Look at my record:
yours.
59-59, $1,800 profit. So the number one thing, everybody listening to this, whether you want to buy the best bets or not, the biggest thing you need to learn is it is not about a winning percentage in this game. It is about making bets that make you money, right? Like you're going to miss wagers. That's the biggest thing I had to learn. No matter what, if I play all favorites, I'm about 500. So if I play all long shots and dogs and I'm 500, you're well ahead rather than playing favorites and you're well behind. So making plus money wagers, and then in horse racing, making, you got to have, 4, 5, 6 to 1 on something to make it a best bet. I mean, that's the thing that we learned a long time ago. And you can learn by looking at these stats. Hitting 50% of your bets, you're not going to impress anybody saying you've done that, but look at the profits, and it's all about that.
Look at Magic starting off strong in the CFL here. I mean, just one after another. He's hit like, what is that, 6 straight? My goodness, this guy.
I think he's the best CFL handicapper I know. He's also the only.
He's the only. I was gonna say, how many do you know? And no, like you kind of said, and Mike, you kind of pointed out, like, yeah, I mean, like, look at, like, I hit on Sunday, I hit this exacta for $3,200, which was nuts. But I mean, like, if you go back, I mean, most of my exactas are, if I hit, I mean, I think my high prior to that was maybe $500 to $800. And they're frustrating to play because, the way I play them, I sometimes will play them straight. Sometimes I play them like that, where I really thought the 7 would run well. The 7 was a big price. The 2 and the 5 I like to win. I think one of those will win. Hopefully, this, that kind of thing. And it's always frustrating when, say, the 2 and the 5 run 1-2, and I don't have it, but yet I had them both in the win spot. So the way I play exactas specifically are very annoying, and it can be very frustrating. That's what I would tell people that do end up tailing me at some points. Like, these exactas, man, like I've done really well with them. Obviously, I'm very much plus ROI on this, but there's a lot of days, a lot of weeks that are very frustrating. But it just takes one, and that, I mean, obviously, that shows it there. So,
yeah, I mean, you said it. You hit that huge exacta, and boom, look at you. You just shoot up the leaderboard. But say you didn't bet it and you go minus at 3,200, you're at 500 and you're up over $2,000. These are $100 base bets most of the time, 50 or 100. So, but it just shows you that's the importance of that. It is so hard, no matter what you're doing or what you're betting, to have a record where you're 70%. Right. It's impossible. Even if you're betting favorites, they lose a lot. I'm talking about sports favorites. So you got to make the bets that make sense from a positive expected value situation. I mean, it's a secret to the game. And like I said, incredible job by you. You got the exacta. And now, I mean, I don't think you're ever going to be in the minus after that. If you do, we're probably going to have to remove you from.
It's the ultimate cold streak if I go to the negatives from that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it just shows you. And like I said, he risked $100 and it returned, 3,000. And those are the kind of plays. And if you miss them, you just kind of go, yeah, but you know what? I had an opportunity to make X amount. That was a big amount and an amount that made sense for me. And I'll give myself that same opportunity on something I like tomorrow. Right. And you can see you can miss 4 or 5 in a row, but if you keep giving yourself that opportunity and that one hits, all of a sudden you really skyrocket.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's really all we've preached it a lot, where it's like you just got to keep, whether it be in sports or in horses, you just got to keep playing the same, handicapping the same way and playing the same way. I mean, as long as your strategy is sound, and whether it's horse racing or sports or whatever, just stay consistent with it, and you will be profitable. But if you start switching things up, and I think the betting Bible can be a really good example of that. We had, I would say, an historically bad Derby and Oaks. I mean, not it's like, like the perfect storm, literally. And ever since, it's been awesome. And so it's just, and before that, it was awesome. It just came out of nowhere and it happens, but I didn't change anything. And if anything, I learned some stuff from it, and just move forward. So you got to kind of have to have that mentality. I mean, that's part of betting. You got to have that mentality of, wow, that sucks. That was really bad. But, they have 12 races tomorrow. I'll bet
Yep.
those two.
Yeah. I think the biggest key, whether you're betting sports or whether you're betting horses, is to keep that level headedness. And that it's tough sometimes to do. But a recent example, and Sam and I were talking about this a little bit earlier. The Miami Marlins were plus 165 yesterday in baseball in Seattle, and they had gotten just crunched the first two games. And I think a lot of people they react to that, they get emotional about it. They're like, well, the Marlins will never be able to beat them, and so they drove the price up. The betting drove the price up on the Marlins. Then you look at it and it's like, well, their best pitchers on the mound. Before these two games, they didn't play very well. They were playing extremely well. And it's like, well, everything really kind of points to the Marlins. It's about a toss-up game, but because the public reacted so negatively to two baseball games, that price floated up, and all of a sudden bettors can go, bam, we'll take advantage of that. And win or lose, you're betting on something that's a higher price than what it should be. That's the key to the whole thing. You cannot get
Yep.
mad at somebody or yourself or be reactionary. Just keep that level headedness. Let the emotions kind of play the prices in your favorite. You just keep level headed and do what your kind of, not your system, but kind of what your beliefs are, and just keep going on those, trying to find those prices that are what they shouldn't be.
Yep. It's all about finding, and not even finding, but creating. And last weekend is a great example at the Belmont. That card was very chalky. We kind of thought it'd be chalky. It came
Yep.
in very chalky. And the idea is to create value, create positive EV situations. If you
Yep.
really like that pick 3 late in the card, pound it. If you really think the double will pay, or you love the way the wheel pays look or whatever, pound that. You can still create positive EV. Like I tell you all the time, it's like, listen, if this may win or not, if I've got this, like, you're telling me I can get, I think it was like 25 to 1 on uh, Cody's Wish. What was the middle one? The Up to the Mark. And what was the other one? There was another one.
Was Carabelle? Yeah.
Caravel, Cody's Wish, Up to the Mark. And you're telling me I got 25 to 1 on that?
Mm-hmm.
23 to 1, something like that. It's like, that's wild. I
Yep.
mean, yeah, you got to get through the first two legs. Be like, okay, so now you're telling me I've got 20. And actually, I had Up to the Mark and Autumn and whatever. And it's like, I have those two horses, and they're both paying 20 on average, 24 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just wild. Like, that's how you win or lose. It's like, I got to this race with this position. That's how you create value.
Well, and the same thing, yours worked out. And then for two of mine, playing exactas with what I thought were the two best horses and playing it for $20, and noses twice cost me $500 on that card.
Yeah.
$500 in exactas, where Casa Creed got nosed out late by a big invasion, and then Ottoman Fleet gets nosed out late. I mean, and with him extremely late by the Soldier Rising horse. So
That was disgusting.
just playing big exactas with the two logical horses. Literally, one nose comes in, I'm $250 more ahead.
Mhm.
Both of them come in, I'm 500 ahead of where I was. And as much as that sucks, and as much as I'm like, God, that is just gross. Again, what I'm saying is, you can't be like, well, I'm never doing that again. That would be stupid if I would say that, because it's just the variance didn't go my way. If those do go my way, that's a pretty easy $500 on horses that you really like. So it's just one of those things that you didn't get the luck, but the bet was right. I gave myself an opportunity to make a lot of money on horses that were short prices.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling, like, I think I almost profited for the whole day, like close to $400, and that was on horses like Clariere and
Yep.
Cody's Wish and Up to the Mark. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, we weren't talking about these crazy prices that had to come in to make that happen. It's just all about not mine was I got more of the the luck, whereas you didn't, and that's just kind of. But you, like you said, like, I think if it did it again tomorrow, even knowing the results, you're like, I would still do that again, because
Yeah.
that was a great value. It just
Yeah. It's what we talk about, and people can choose to listen to this or not, but this thing is all about creating value, whether that be I hate the favorites and
Yeah.
I'm going to create value that way, or I love the favorites. Now let's figure out a way that I can play these favorites where we are going to get a payout from this. And I'm again, if you would have told me Caravel over Costa Creed's going to pay 13-1, I'm sorry, I'm taking that every day. I don't care about your other horses that you might like in there. I think these are the two best, right? And that's what it was paying. So at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, you're very bummed that it didn't come in, but you're like, look, that's the best play that I thought I could make on that,
Yeah.
So
My favorite is when we had a comment. I think I posted the results of the betting Bible from this weekend. There was a comment on Twitter about something like, because I had like 110% plus ROI on Saturday, and
mhm.
someone was like, "Wow, all three favorites in that pick three. That's great."
That's why I don't get on Twitter
And it's
anymore.
like it blows my so you're just supposed to not play the pick three? I mean, because you see, like, and so many people do. It's like, oh, that looks chalky. Can't play that. I look at it the other way.
That's why I don't get on there anymore. There's too many people that don't know what they're talking about, but they have a very loud voice and they make fun of people that do know. And then they get people to follow them because they think it's funny to make fun of people. And so then it's like there's a whole grove of people that are following this person that really has no idea what they're doing, but they're following it because they think it's funny that they make fun of other people. And I mean, it's crazy to me how that has become okay in our society and how it's cool to make fun of people and how easy it is for other people to make people feel bad. And it's even worse when that person is attacking somebody that actually does this for a living. And it's like, this is crazy. Why am I on here? Like these people, it's a toxic place. And
Oh yeah.
so that's kind of it. That again, it's just like, I just don't need that kind of anxiety in my life. And then what do? You argue with them, and then their band of people are all against you, and then your band of people and you are all against them, and it's a big fight, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, look, those people with that mindset that only do one thing or another, that's the problem. You can't just I'm just this or I'm this that. You need to look at the board and find the most likely outcome that's paying the best. Whether that is I hate favorites and I'm going to try to go against them, or I love the favorites. Now let's find out a way because I'm not going to bet 3 or 4 horses that I hate just because of their price because I just bet long shots every race. It's okay to bet long shots when you believe that those are the highest outcomes versus what the payouts are, and that's the best wager to make. That's fine.
It's just,
But if that's all you do, then you're doing it wrong. You need to be flexible. You need to take every race as its own separate thing and then attack that race based on the horses you like and the payouts that you can get. I mean, that's the simple way to put it, but that's wagering no matter if it's racing or baseball or whatever. That is wagering.
I mean, and like it's not like the first time we've heard this. So it's like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Where it's like, but it's just wild for me to, and I don't know why it surprises me, but it's just wild for me to think that, like, so I just not only, and it wasn't like if I would have played like 5 deep, 3 deep, 6 deep in that pick three, then you're like,
Exactly.
okay, I get it. That's ridiculous. It was a very, very aggressive, very thin pick three that
Yeah.
I pounded. And it's like, I get it that there were favorites, but I also just laid out how I made 25-1 on that. So your alternative is that it would be better to pick the not favorites of all those legs, and I wouldn't have hit it, by the way. So it's like, is that better to just go against the favorites, even when you think the favorite is going to win?
No, I mean that's what they think. Yes, it's like, well, you can't. Every argument from people like that as well. Long term, that won't work. It will if that's not what you do every time. Like I think people see a ticket and go, "Well, this is how this guy plays every single time."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, well, no, obviously not. I mean,
You can only play how it's presented to you. You know what I mean?
exactly. I mean, you've got a sequence where there's 3 favorites that are beatable. Okay, leave them out. Play combinations. You can play it for a lower amount, but if you got 3 that you like, raise the base amount, play very, very few combinations, and try to pound it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how Mike Samich has won a lot of tournaments. It's how the tournament winners usually win them, right? If it's a try and you think the three favorites are going to come in, you play them straight and you play no combinations. You just play them straight, you play them for $20. You hope they come in. I mean, it's really not something that's an evil thing to do or a stupid thing to do. It's just here's how I see the race. Now this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And
You
I've
gotta
never
react to how
understood.
you see the race.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, you're saying it, but you can't say, well, I really love the 2-5 and I really love the 2-1, but I can't play that. I'm gonna play the 5-1 and the 8-1 instead. Like that makes no sense. I mean, sure, that might hit one time every once in a while because that's just racing, right? But you can't if you see three races in a row, we're like, well, I think the favorite's gonna win. I think the favorite's gonna win here. I think the favorite's gonna win here. It's like, well, then what do you figure out a way to play it?
Well,
So
you figure out a way to play it or you skip it. I mean, you can skip it if you don't want to do that, and that's okay
well,
too.
yeah,
But
of course, you pick your spots. But if you go through the whole card and you're looking
yeah,
at like it seems chalky, well, then you're like, all right, how do I kind of attack this? And obviously, it's tough for us when you have to make the picks beforehand. But if you're playing the will pays or seeing the will pays and those kind of things live, then you can make a lot of really well educated decisions
hmm
live by saying, well, I really do like this horse. And I really thought it'd be a lower price on the exacta, but it's not. So there's where I'm going to play, and vice versa. Or maybe you really like the favorite
yeah,
with the horse underneath. You're like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting that price, on that exacta. I'll play that. So you just got to be very flexible,
yeah.
but base
I-
it off of how you handicap the race. Sorry, this has been did not mean for this to keep going this
Well,
long,
honestly,
but
I think this discussion we're having will be better than anything else on the show, as far as something as far as usefulness of something you could use every day, and that's why I don't really mind that we're keeping going on it, because I just can't understand the wow. Look at Cody's wish. There's no chance he can lose. All right, let's see who we could get. Let's see if we can get him out of this try.
right.
I can't. You can't sit here and tell me long term that's gonna win. You just can't.
No, not long term. No
No.
way.
So to me, and again, if you got a favorite and you hate them, great, get them out. Let's see if we can get them out. Hey, we'll talk about a race at Monmouth. I don't like a favorite, and I'm going to be all in against him. So, and I think people see it's like, oh, he's playing a favorite. He just plays favorites all the time, and it's like, no, it's just no, that's sure not. But okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's time and a place,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that you can play a favorite. I I don't I'm not I don't disagree with playing favorites, but I also am not afraid to take a stand against one too. So it's just all about the timing of it. Whenever you look at a card, it's like Cody's Wish. I think is unbeatable. I think it's either Caravel or Costa Creed. I think it's either Ottoman or I think it's up to the mark. And I don't really see anything past those horses is going to surprise me. Well, here's how I create value. Honestly, I don't play a lot of pick threes, but I thought, I like all three of those legs quite a bit as far as the way that's structured.
hmm
And in fact, I even pounded even higher. Costa Creed single pick three, and look at Samich. I mean,
Yeah.
that dude he pounded up. Was it pick five? I think or pick six.
Pick five. Pick five. Yeah.
Yeah, where he like all singles, and he
hmm
went 4 or 5,
hmm
and damn near hit the thing, um, and so it's just one of those things that you can still make money on these days without having to get some crazy price home.
Well, I think last point, unless you got other stuff that I'd like to make on this, is you didn't play like 8 pick threes all pounded on this card. You played one, and
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like I
yeah,
think people
exactly.
think like you got to play races 1 through 3 the same way you play 2 through 4, the same way you play 3 through 5. No, you don't. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. You can use your brain and go, well, this sequence really doesn't play how I like to play or how I want to do it. whoa, this one does. This one sticks out to me. Okay, I'll take a shot there. Right.
Yep.
And so anyway,
Well, it was as simple as looking at it and saying, okay, I think this 3 race sequence is I think I know who's going to win all of them. You
Mhm.
know, it's as cocky as that sounds, but something you have to have confidence. And that's the other thing. Your bets should show how you feel about that race. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. Someone shouldn't be able to look at your bets and be like, "Who do you like in this race?" No, you should be able to know who I like in these races. And I felt very confident in that. So I was like, okay, now I can't just let that pass by not playing it because even though I think I'm going to hit all those races, so let's play a pick 3, and
Yep.
I don't, in fact, I don't ever seek those out really, but it just kind of made sense there. So, with the Belmont, I didn't feel as confident in the Belmont, or I may have played a pick 4. Um, I just like those 3. So that's what I did.
Yep.
All right. That's it. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get to today's show. Hopefully, you guys learned a little something there. Let us vent a little bit as well. We're going to recap the 2023 Triple Crown season, which featured many twists and turns along the way. Which horse is the best as of right now? Who will be the best at the end of summer? We will answer those questions and more. Then we're going to get some rapid fire selections for the stakes action at Belmont Park and Monmouth Park this weekend. Let's go. Yeah. Okay. Shoddy aliens. I agree. Have you talked to? I actually told Halterman about this.
They know.
He thinks I'm crazy.
Well, no, I don't think you're crazy. It's just like we talked about this on the sports show. It's like I want evidence. I just haven't seen evidence. That's the
There's
problem.
evidence. I think we have a better chance of seeing aliens than we've seen Cave Rock.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I sadly. So he did see him, just like we did see aliens over the weekend as well. I think so.
Wait, he's saying he saw Cave Rock? Oh,
Saw him gallop.
whew. There goes that worry. Man, I was worried. Okay,
Gallop.
Good start.
When will we see him? We should take. What are the odds on we see an alien or Cave Rock first?
As far as Cave Rock in a race,
Yeah.
How
about win a race? Can we go that far?
I think if we see him, he'll probably win. I'd say. Well, listen, I don't know. That's a tough one. Maybe neither. Maybe that one pushes.
Yeah. Even Mike says alien. So.
Oh well, that's a bad sign.
Listen, I seriously think we're like less than 10 years away from having solid proof of aliens existing.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I hope.
And by the way, I'm not like one of those like I don't believe in Bigfoot. I don't believe in a lot of that kind of shit, Loch Ness monster, whatever. Like I'm not one of those guys. But aliens, I'm here for it, man. I just think it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, I need this guy to have 2 more strikeouts. By the way.
Darth Vader says good handicappers always stay with their playbook, and if they miss, they should always reevaluate why they missed. I agree with that,
dude. And you're right, Darth. Like that's that's the thing. Like the betting Bible has, and just like anybody should have their own betting Bible. Where you can go back through that day and digest it. What went wrong? What did you hit? Kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, hey, like I would have done that again, even though I knew it didn't hit. So it's all about going back through, or the other way, being like, that was stupid. Like, why did I play that? Or that, I should have played. And that happened a lot for the first couple Bibles we did, where I was like, oh, that was dumb. And even Halterman, I know, and I'll let you kind of touch on it a little bit, but you kind of have shifted away from the win bets and into the exactas and doubles based off of kind of the evidence you've seen and just like the success rate.
I touched on the win bets a little earlier, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Darth, I don't know. You may have been on the show, maybe not. I thought I recognized your name from that show. Maybe not though. But my theory on the win bets now is I used to think they were a great play, and I don't think so anymore. I think the computer money bets down those logical horses so much now that you're not getting paid enough on those win bets to do it. You got to be real careful. And you also got to be careful. So a lot of times these horses are getting pounded once they leave that gate, that late money that comes in. So yeah, I've had to pivot. And I think in racing, especially, you have to really stay in touch with what's happening, because computers are not a new problem, but the amount is a problem that is getting worse, is how I would say it. So yeah, the win bets, I've kind of had to shy away and go to more of the exactas and the doubles, because I don't think they get pounded quite as much. So that's just, yeah, keeping track of it and adjusting to how you see it going. Because the bottom line is, if you're betting a horse and you think he's going to be 7-5, let's say, and he goes off at 3-5, that is a significant problem when you're trying to plan your wagers.
Yeah. Yeah, and that we've had times where, as we try to, be very with how we like, hey, we didn't do it at first, and we realized it was a problem. Like, hey, if this horse is, whether it be an exacta or even the win bets, where it's like, hey, if this horse is even money or less, don't play him. I'm not interested. And a horse will be even money, and then they'll leave the gate and they're 3-5, and you're like, well, what do? It's impossible to do those, and so it's almost gotten to where, like you're saying, where you're like, I mean, the exactas can fluctuate a little bit in the doubles and stuff, the will pays, but not much. You can generally get a pretty solid idea of what they're paying prior without any kind of issue.
Yep.
But the win bets are like all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do a little recap here. We'll go through these pretty quick here, because obviously we've talked for 40 minutes almost on betting, but that's good, because I'm not really wanting to talk too much about the Triple Crown anyway.
Well, so. What's really funny is we were kind of like, what are we going to do? And boy, did something actually really good happen on the show. So that's good.
Listen, that's what's funny is these are conversations that Halterman and I have all the time together off air about, especially when we're coming up with, the Bible bets and things like that, kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. So, I mean, it only makes sense that we could do this live on air for everybody to chime in on. Hopefully it helps some people, because it's funny. I never would have gotten to a point where I thought I was going to be picking or playing doubles and exactas and things like that. And here I am, like, I love playing those, that's what I'm about. So,
yep. The doubles, especially for me, I never really liked them. And boy, I started keeping track and kind of looking on the back end of things. It's like, well, man, you know what? These aren't as hard to hit, and the payouts are pretty good. So yeah. Anyway, yeah.
All right, that's a wrap on this year's Triple Crown. No Triple Crown this year, but the Triple Crown is over. The Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. We're officially heading into the summer racing at Del Mar and Saratoga. Of course, across the country as well, but those are the main races, main tracks we'll see kind of the 3-year-old racing take place this summer. But we thought we'd just put a final bow on all 3 legs of the Triple Crown this year, maybe relive some of the highs and the lows, and go through each leg of the Triple Crown, and just kind of, like I said, just wrap each one up. Like, as soon as we're done talking about it, it's like, let's move on. Let's start things off with the Kentucky Derby. Of course, so many things went on in this race, not just the race, but before the race, when we had, scratch after scratch, and then including Forte, and we knew days before that this was probably going to happen, but they didn't announce it till Saturday morning, which was a mess for us and everybody that made their bets or were betting. Forte's out, no Forte in the race. Mage, the horse that Forte had beaten a couple times in a row, went on to win the Kentucky Derby, beat over 2 fills, over Angel of Empire. The favorite was Angel of Empire. Tabit Trice was also right there close as well. Mage wins the Kentucky Derby. Maybe not the way, like, him winning the race wasn't surprising necessarily, especially after Forte's scratch, but the way he did it was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He was just, is it just me, or does it feel like that race was like 5 years ago? It's just like, that was a different time back then. You know what I mean?
It was a different world we lived in then. Yeah.
It really was a bizarre world. two of the worst days of my life, actually. But anyway, glad we're
I told you.
reliving that today. Mage certainly was super, super impressive. Too impressive because he was so impressive. You got overconfident in the Preakness. So that was
Yeah.
nice. Thanks. But anyway, he was really impressive on this one. Two Phils as well. He ran a great race. So did Angel of Empire. All three of them in this one. It was an exciting Kentucky Derby, a big performance. Hopefully we see these guys come back. Hopefully all three of these horses are listed here have a big summer because we have a wide open summer. And so that's what makes this fun. We're going to see two Phils coming up in the Ohio Derby next weekend. So we'll see if he can kind of get his summer going.
That's weird. I mean, I don't know. The path they've taken with two Phils has been very odd to me because it's like,
You think?
I mean, one, they prep him on the synthetics, and then of course then we don't know what he is going in the Derby. Turns out he is really good. But then it's like we don't see him anymore on the Triple Crown. Now he's going to the Ohio Derby. I mean, not to say like whatever. We've seen horses go to the Ohio Derby before, but it's like two Phils kind of ran a race where you're like, oh shit, he's really good. And then you're like, wait, where is he? And now he's in the Ohio Derby. So again, it's like we can't get to a situation with him where it's like even in the Derby, you're like, if you used him defensively because you didn't know what he was, and now you're like, what is he now? I don't know. Maybe he's not very good. Now he's in the Ohio Derby. So how do you even play him there? He's a weird horse. Weird situation with how they
You said
play
it. Yep.
horse.
You said it well. You said it very well. I agree with all points. It's odd that you go to fairgrounds and you go to the Turfway, to the Jeff Ruby, and then now we're in Ohio. Look, I sort of love that he's at Ohio because I love these little tracks having the bigger races. I just think that's fun. So I love that he's going there, but it is odd for sure. I'm not saying it's not odd. You're right. So we'll see. And I mean, the other two here, I would say, more of your logical Haskell, Jim Dandy, Travers type races for them.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what Mage and I mean Angel of Empire obviously ran in the Belmont. We'll talk about him more in a little bit, but we'll see him a lot this summer as well, you would think. But Mage, like I said, it was one of those cases where you wouldn't have if you would have said if he's going to be right there, right in front of Tappet Trice early in this race, you'd been like, well, the only reason I would have picked Mage, and the only reason you kind of liked Mage, the only reason Samich was interested in Mage, I mean, I wouldn't say the only reason, but a big reason was, maybe he breaks better. I don't think he's been breaking as bad as it seems. He'll break better, be closer positioned, and whereas he could take advantage of that. Well, he did break okay, but then he's in second, third, fourth to last, and then the way he just, I mean, he was like on go the whole way around and just rounded over horses, went through holes and just kind of, just crushed them really. He just ran a massive race. And you just never, you can expect him to win. You just didn't expect him to win that way, which, like you said, kind of made you overconfident with him heading into the Preakness because you're like, well, shit, he can do that. Like he can beat that field in the Preakness.
You said it.
He
That's
couldn't, by
exactly
the
what
way.
happened. Absolutely. And you're on fire today. Absolutely right. Yeah. And
I mean,
it's
that's why they pay me a lot of money to be on this show. So
correct. Yes. The video is private, it says. Good job. But anyway, I don't
I blame Magic for that, by the way. So.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm going to take down. Anyway,
that's Magic's fault.
But yeah, it is all Magic's fault, actually. But 100%. But Paul, our buddy Paul, said, hey, I'm really going to look for the athletic horse for next year's Derby. I want to find that athlete because he's like, Mage was really athletic, and that's how I did it. I said, okay, well, number one, that's that's why I picked Angel of Empire. I thought, boy, he showed a lot of athleticism. I think I'll pick him in the Belmont, and he didn't show it. And two, show me how to identify the most athletic horse? Give me a break right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's the thing about Mage that when you look back, I kind of was like, man, that was not as bad as not say it was a bad pick, but where you could have got there. Like I told Samich, like, listen, even if he doesn't run well or he doesn't break like you think or whatever, he's shown that he has that. We saw it in the Florida Derby, we saw it in the Fountain of Youth, where if he doesn't break well, he still has this big run and makes a big run, and he's a kind of a versatile horse. And so you kind of had the feeling of even if he doesn't doesn't run well or doesn't break well, he'll give you a run, won't embarrass you with that pick, especially considering he was a semi long shot. And then of course he just kept keeps going, and just
Mhm.
keeps running, and ran himself right into the favorite of the Preakness, and we'll move there now. And Preakness, another race that we had. I think we were live on this show when we were like, I think First Mission might be scratching,"
Yep.
and he did. First Mission scratch. We may not ever see First Mission again. It seemed, but he scratches from the race. The race was already kind of sad anyways between him and Mage. Scratch from the race. Now it's like, oh well, Mage can win this easily. Like how can he not win this, especially without First Mission? And then you get closer and closer to the race post time. You're like, how are the odds like this? How are you're getting? I don't remember what was he like 8 to
He,
7 to 5, something like
I
that.
think he ended up being 7-5. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, this is wild. I thought it'd be 7 to 5 with First Mission in the race, and so it just you kind of felt like it was too good to be true, and it was.
It was.
Mage just clearly. I mean, he was. I mean, yeah, there was no pace in the race. National Treasure took advantage of the no pace, but Mage was awful. I mean, if he runs anywhere near like the Derby, and of course the buyers came back that way, he wins that race. National Treasure, and I think we can look at this race. Sorry, Shoddy, cover your ears, Shoddy. The next 20 seconds, cover your ears. I think we can look at this race now and say, wow, this is the shittiest race of the three. Like National Treasure was nowhere to be found in the Belmont. He was awful, awful in the Belmont. He had just took advantage of a shitty race, a Mage that was coming off of the 2 week layoff. Blazing Sevens almost beat National Treasure. It was a ridiculous performance, but one that we have to sit here and say he won the Preakness.
No, 100%. And it's yeah, again, apologies. And that's not, now to be very clear, and Jared doesn't mean, hey, if you bet him, that was a crazy bet, because
No,
you could see that
yeah,
happening. So we're not saying you got lucky or anything like that. No, you handicapped it well. You could see that could unfold. He was a very logical horse to use. So just want to, I know some YouTube comments will get out of hand if we don't say that, Jared. But as far as this horse being a Preakness winner, it it's surprising that he was able to win the Preakness based off his talent level. That's just all there is to it. And that's not me being mean or anything. That's just looking at who this horse has been. And you just wouldn't think that's a Preakness winner, but he is. And so he took advantage. He showed up. He was ready. He was able to walk on the lead and hold off Blazing Sevens. Listen, he did have to fight off Blazing Sevens. He had to really work for it. But Jared, I think there's probably 3 or 4 horses in barns out in California right now, 3 or 4 probably with the same guy as that has National Treasure, that are better than this horse. And we
oh
kind of
yeah.
have proof of that. He ran in 2 prep races in California, and he didn't win either one of them, and he wasn't close in either one of them. You mentioned the Belmont. He didn't really show up with anything there. I mean, he's just an average horse that was able to win the Preakness.
Listen, and we'll talk about this horse probably in a second when I ask you a certain question. But yeah, that trainer has a horse, the other Arabian Lion, that I think would have won the last 2 legs of the Triple Crown, and I don't know how you can argue that. He definitely would have won this race. I've no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And then you can argue the Belmont, I guess. I mean, but I think he would have ran really, he ran a huge day, ran a huge race in the Woody Stevens. I think he would have been really tough there. So, yeah, I mean, I agree, Mike. I mean, Forte, Cave. I'm not going to put Cave Rock in there. By talent level, sure, Cave Rock, you could add him. Forte for sure. Arabian Horses, yeah. National Treasure is average at best. He just got an average Preakness,
Yep.
and took advantage of that. So, Mage was the disappointing part of this race. It was because it was other time where it was like kind of similar to the Derby, where it's like I'm not surprised that National Treasure won. It's just that one, he walked, no one pressured him, and two, like Mage, even though he maybe the pace didn't help him out. He also was really close in that race too. Like he was right there with the chance to win it. It wasn't like he was way out of it. He broke better than he's broke his entire career. He just simply didn't have it.
Yeah, he just, I saw him after the race, kind of like, yeah, I don't know about it. Castellano's right. And it's like, yeah, dude, like he turned for home like a couple links behind and he went backwards. Like he didn't make up it. He just didn't fire. If he fires and he gets up there and he loses by a nose, you're like, oh man, he tried, but he just didn't fire. So he didn't show up with his best. And when that happened, like I said, it gave the opportunity for somebody who's not great to go win it.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those things too. Like it's like if he gets beat by National Treasure and it's like it's back and forth, kind of similar to Blazing Sevens, but Mage, you're like, well, he ran well. National Treasure just stole that thing basically, but he could even get past Blazing Sevens, and it just clearly didn't have it. So we go to the Belmont Stakes after that. National Treasure, skips into this race now after that Preakness win. Of course, he's not listed here because he was awful. Archangelo, of course, right, wins the third leg of the Triple Crown, won the Peter Pan, got just an unbelievable, first female trainer to win any Triple Crown race. That was awesome. Castellano, he wins the Belmont for the first time. He also won the Kentucky Derby for the first time. He won 2 of the 3 legs. It was just, insane. The Triple Crown Castellano had. Forte, I think you can look at this race and say Forte and Tapit Trice. Well, I'll say Forte specifically probably ran the best. He just clearly needed the race, which was the concern all along. I keyed him in second. I was dead right. I just didn't ever think Archangelo was going to win. In fact, I thought I was going to hit it when they were in the stretch. It's like Tapit Trice is going to win, Forte can get second, and then Archangelo scoots away. But I think the real disappointment here was Tapit Trice. That he is dead to me now. I hate that horse. I'm so glad the fantasy league's over so I can stop rooting for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a really, really great story with the winner. Fantastic. And you said it about the trainer. We've said it a bunch, and that's just awesome. Simply awesome. I'm sad that it took this long, but I'm happy that it happened with the female winning a Triple Crown race. That's great. Now, and you get Javier Castellano, who won the race. I mean, a great ride, saved all the ground, and was able to finish just a little bit faster. So really, really good, really, really solid for that, and great connections, great story. Then you get to the disappointment, and really Forte disappointing because you kind of knew. That's why you put him in second, Jared. It's like, I know that course is going to try. He's a trier, but you just kind of knew he wasn't quite going to be ready for this. And then you look at Tapit Trice, and it's like, yeah, he just sucks. So that was kind of the story of the Belmont.
Yeah, I mean, that was just it. Like, there's not a better trier in the 3-year-old anyways than Forte. Like, you look at the Florida Derby. He should not have even ran close in that race, but he just keeps coming. He just keeps coming. He's got all the guts in the world. He showed it again there. There was a part of this race where you're like, well, he's not gonna fire. Like, he's backing up. Tapit Trice went past him. That's saying something. That's saying a lot. And here he came. He came and got. And I honestly, when he got to Tapit Trice kind of reengaged a little bit. But he just kept coming. I do think, yeah, he was the best horse of the race. I agree. It was whether it be the wide trip on top of, we hadn't seen the horse in, what was it, like, how many days was it? 60, 70 days, something like that, something crazy.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of added up. And the thing about it is like, and I just want to say this as the former leader of the Tapit Trice fan club. Like, everyone's like, oh, he got a wide trip, or oh, he broke slow. It's like, well, for one, that's what he does every race. 2, that's what they wanted to do. They wanted him wide. They wanted him outside. The idea was to do. I mean, I thought the ride was brilliant. I mean, you could argue that he went a little too quick with them, but I mean, you're really picking at details there, because I just feel like everything you wanted to see from Tapit Trice, especially in a mile and a half race, was there. He got into position. And if you guys watched the live stream, I haven't watched it back, but I'm sure, like, I get more and more excited throughout the race. I'm thinking, wow, he's got it in a position. Wow, he's really close. Wow, he's right. He's exactly. I thought I had it, Halterman. I thought he was home. I just thought everything went exactly as I laid out. I would have bet him 20 times out of 20 if you would have told me he was in that position at the top of the stretch, and he just simply, I don't know. He just couldn't do it.
For him, it was a perfect trip.
Well,
It was for
that's fair. Yes.
for what he is, it couldn't have went any better. Yeah, no doubt.
And that's a good way to say it
Yeah,
because he's such a fucking moron that he can't be inside of horses. He's got to be wide. He can't get going early. He can't get position early. So he's got, it's like there's all these things. And you said it. He may have ran a little bit better than you thought, but you
yeah.
still said it prior where you're like, there's just too many things with him that have to happen in order for him to win a race.
And
He
that's
has to break well. He has to get position. He has, all these things where it's like, you, the perfect scenario, the perfect storm has to happen for him. He's just, is he super talented? I think he might be. Maybe we'll figure it out like next year. But it just, he's a head case now.
well, and I think that was the big thing for me. It was, a lot of people were making comparisons. Him and Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal didn't run good in the Derby, but he's gonna run good in the Belmont. And you're right, Tapit Trice did run better than I thought, but I thought back to Mo Donegal. I was like, I didn't have any question marks about him. I didn't have, well, he has to do this or he has to do that. That was all just kind of assumed. Yeah, he'll get a decent enough position. Yeah, he'll finish. All the stuff. Where this screwy horse, it's just like, oh God. What if he doesn't do this? What if he doesn't do that? And it's just like, yeah, I can't. It doesn't feel the same to me. And he ran okay though. I mean, he tried. And look, I think Michael said, "Hey, Forte is the best horse in this race." I think he was too. I think if it was a normal distance, he would have won. I just don't think you could be ready for a mile and a half off that layoff. But at the same token, Rodney says, I think Arcangelo is the real deal. I kind of do too. I think both things can be true, right? I think Forte is the best horse coming out of it. I think Arcangelo is really freaking good. I think both things are true.
So I guess that's a good segue. By the way, Rodney, I think the better one I think Lonnie is good, but Tacitus has to be Tacitus, right?
Yeah, I think he's better than Lonnie, but the more I look at it, I'm like, yeah, he's really Tacitus. Yeah.
I had one of those moments where I'm assuming that a lot of like, if not that, well, this might be, maybe I shouldn't say that. That like, I had a moment like where where you're like, look yourself in the mirror and like, wow, like I give so many people shit about Tacitus, our friends, Vinny in particular that loves Tacitus. And it's like, I'm that guy, but with Tapit Trice. I had to be like, okay, dude, you gotta like. It's a good time. It's a good thing that Triple Crown ended when it did because I was like, I need to get off the Tapit Trice fan club bandwagon here.
I was on that bandwagon for the Derby. I'll tell you the moment I jumped off. The exact moment I jumped off when he broke in the Derby and he was in a great position. And I said to myself, I was right. Jared was right. He's going to be in a great spot. This is going to work out great. Win or lose, we were right. He's going to get the trip. And then within 2 seconds, he dropped his dead last for no reason. I said to myself, he's a piece of shit, and I don't want anything to do with him ever again.
It just you went from like, is this going to work out? Because I had the exact same thoughts. Is this going to work out? To oh no, oh no, oh no, and it just slipped away from you.
In 2 seconds, you went from I'm going to have a shot to win this thing. If he fires, we're winning. To we have no shot, and that's totally embarrassing. And that's when I thought, you're dead to me.
But to be fair, and to even counter that a little bit is like, I mean, yeah, I guess you could have asked for a little bit less wide of a trip at the Belmont, but he ran the Belmont like I thought was hoping he'd run the Derby, and he just didn't. I mean, so it's like he could have ran a better position and just never finished that race, and so
he could have, but it would have been less embarrassing if he would have gotten position.
That's true. All right. So to that point, let's give you who's the best 3-year-old right now. The Triple Crown's over, and then let's just ask you that question first. Who's the best 3-year-old right now?
Who has accomplished the most, or who is the most talented?
Who did you rank as your top 3-year-old in the NTRA poll?
I think I ranked Forte number 1. I think he is still like the number 1 horse. I don't know that he's the most talented horse, but I do have him ranked number 1.
I have him ranked number 1 as well, Forte. I thought he ran a huge race in the Belmont. All things considered, hadn't lost, all year. Yeah, it's just very true, Doris.
So true. Yeah.
Uh, he says it's funny how handicappers turn on their horse only after the horse turned on them. Yeah,
Yep.
and some handicappers never do. You hold out the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Forte is the horse. Now, here's a very interesting, second part to that question: who's the top 3-year-old? Let's say after like the summer, like Saratoga, September 1st ish. Let's say who's the top 3-year-old? Then and then I'm going to give you a bonus question of who is the 3-year-old champion.
I think if Arabian Lion can hold the form we currently have seen from him, he is going to have a huge summer and be that one of the top horses September 1st. However, we've seen him go away, right? and be awful. So he's not that reliable, but his last 2 races have been better than anything we've seen on the track this year from a talent standpoint. I also believe a horse like Go Rocket Ride could end up being the top one. I think Arabian Night showed more talent than about anybody in that prep. If he can stay healthy, I think he could be one. That's kind of the difference. If you asked this question last year, I think we all would have said, oh, it's Epicenter. If you asked this question 2 years ago, oh, it'll be Essential Quality. This year, I don't have a hard answer for you. I mean, Forte could be, but I really think somebody from California like Rocket or those 2 Bafferts that I mentioned, they could be as well. I think races like the Haskell and the Travers and the Jim Dandy, they're not going to be quite as cut and dry like they were the last couple of years. It's going to be pretty wild this summer, especially if we can get these horses to stay healthy and in good form.
Yeah, I mean, well, the fact that you've had really all 3 legs, you had, I wouldn't say long shots, but you had like improbable winners, I guess. And so it just opens the door completely for that summer season to be the 3-year-old. I think it's going to be one of the Arabian Rodney, one of the Arabian brothers. I think it's going to be one of the Arabian brothers this summer. I think say September 1st, because Arabian Night could go and just dominate the Haskell and then dust them in the Travers or whatever. And it could be Arabian Lion. I think Arabian Lion's got I had written down Arabian Lion.
Yeah.
I guess the jury's still out with Arabian Night. At the end of the year, I think I'm going to stick with Forte, just because maybe his body of work is going to be more sound than the Arabians. I guess you could argue like maybe he's going to run. Obviously Pletcher already said Tabit Trice and at least those 2 and Forte are going to run or point to the Travers, and so obviously whether it be the Jim Dandy Travers or whatever they end up doing, if he wins one of those and then maybe wins one in the fall, like it's going to be hard to push him out unless one of those Arabian horses just completely goes nuts this summer.
See, I think Arabian Lion is 1 win away. Like if he was to win the Haskell, let's say, and I'm not saying he's going to, I'm just saying that's if. If he was to go and win the Haskell, that's 2 straight grade 1s, right? So then it's like, well, he's probably number 1 or number 2, and he's right there on the doorstep. But he has to go do it. And I think he's really, I thought the dimension he showed of sitting off and exploding, it's like Baffert's got that horse like right all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if we're a horse that can go to the front and take him gate to wire, but if it's really fast, we can sit and pounce on him. That's the kind that Baffert doesn't lose with, right? So he's really dangerous to me, and I'm really excited about him, and I'm really pissed that he took the winter and the spring off for my fantasy team, or I probably would have won. I feel that strongly, but he did take those months off, Jared, and now he's here. So we'll see.
He was awesome in the Woody Stevens. Like he was really, I'd really love that gold whatever on the outside, and he ran huge. And then you saw Arabian Lion, or just like, oh shit, like he is loaded.
Yeah,
and he ran a whole new dimension. A lot of people didn't think he could rate. He did. And like you said, he showed that we've seen him win on the lead. We've seen him win off. Yeah, that was going 7 furlongs, but Baffert's even said before the race, like, I'm going to stretch him back out. I just thought, I have one in the Belmont already. This is a grade one. It's a Woody Stevens. It's a historic race. Like, let's try to go run here. And then we'll, obviously point to the Haskell or whatever.
One horse that we haven't talked about. What about Practical Move? Where do you think you'll see him? What do you think he is?
The problem with him for me is I do think we'll see him again, right? By the way, because talking about all these kind of moves going forward, Go Rocket Ride. I saw a question earlier. Go Rocket Ride's pointing to Haskell as well. So that's another horse along with Practical Move that we'll start to learn a lot more about, because who knows what Go Rocket Ride really is. My concern with Practical Move is I didn't think he would want the mile and a quarter before the race, even though he did scratch from the race. So I'm just hesitant. I think he might be like more of a, mile 8th, mile 16th, even a mile type of horse where he might flourish. And obviously those races aren't the Haskell, aren't the Travers, things like that you'll need to win. The Pacific Classic that you're going to need to win in order to kind of make that case to be the top 3-year-old. So I think that's my concern with him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And my concern with him is how messed up is this horse, because he has not worked since 428. So he hasn't even had a workout after this. And what? Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a fever, wasn't it?
Well, that's just it. Yeah. And that's just, yeah. I mean, so that's what it was. Well, at least supposedly, right?
Yeah.
And then the same thing, but I wanted to do the same thing with Go Rocket Ride, because standing in Derby, it's like always a fever. And then we didn't even see him work for over a month, so sometimes they can be really slow with it. I don't know.
I don't see how Practical Moves back in time for the Haskell for sure.
No. Has he not had to work?
No. So he would be maybe like the shared belief at Del Mar is what they're thinking.
I mean, that seems like they would, of course, the Derby or the Breeders' Cup is out there. So, you might not see him lead the state, for the rest of the year. The Haskell we're like 5 weeks away.
Yeah.
If he hasn't had to work, he ain't going to the Haskell.
No.
So, I just don't think that's realistic. So, I don't know. And I'll be honest. I've seen a lot of I don't think Cave Rock. I'm gonna be really against Cave Rock when he comes back. I just don't like when these horses are. We've seen it before. What was his name? Corniche.
Corniche.
Yeah. I mean, is he Corniche? I don't like the fact he's oh, he's coming back and he's not, and he's coming back and he's not, and it's oh, he's not had to work. Oh, he missed work because of the rain, but he continues to not work or not run in races. It's just there's something more there than what is, and those kind of I just think he may be a horse that had a lot of issues as a 2-year-old and obviously was very good, but I don't know. I can't. I'm gonna very much a wait and see approach with him.
So no work from him. To me, the earliest you're getting back is late Del Mar season, probably late Del Mar. I mean, I think he's much better than Corniche. I'll say that, but I'm kind of with you. It's when he gets back, it just depends on where they spot him on how you're going to look at him, and how he's coming into it. But that day at the Breeders' Cup, when I saw him, I thought, he kind of ran like he's tied up in knots a little bit. He was not a very pretty mover, and that kind of leads me to believe you're right. He's got some little issues they're having to work out. So it's going to be a while before we see him, and we're just going to have to see how he looks when he comes back. It's really hard to put a judgment on him until we see a pattern and we see where he puts him, because Baffert put Corniche in that sprint up at Saratoga, and you kind of knew, well, that's an odd spot. I think he's just running him up there so we could retire him, type of thing.
Yeah.
We'll see how he takes care of him. That's going to tell us a lot.
And he ran like he was about ready to be retired as well.
Yeah.
Because he was awful. So, we'll see what happened. This summer's I think the moral of the story here is the summer is about to be very, very interesting. We have the Haskell is going to set things off. Of course, the Jim Dandy coming up soon. I've never been more excited, to be honest, for summer racing to get here. Not just to put the Triple Crown in the review mirror, but just because I feel like not just with the 3-year-olds, but these older division horses, even the older division with Cody's Wish and what he's going to do, and who's going to where's Taba going to go, and all these we kind of that whole classic division is wide open as well, and it just seems like things are just now kind of getting going with a lot of these divisions. So looking forward to the summer, but that is a wrap officially. In one word, how would you quantify the 2023 Triple Crown?
One word?
One word.
Dumb.
I'll go with overrated.
Thought you were gonna say stupid.
You said it first. Whatever. It's all those words in one. But that's a wrap on the 2023 Triple Crown. Stupid. It was stupid. Let's go to some. We're gonna do 5 stakes races. Bed of Roses at Belmont, which has Goodnight Olive, and then we'll do the four at Monmouth, including the Pegasus, which not that Pegasus, the other Pegasus, the OG Pegasus that's got King's Barnes in it.
That's right.
Seen moonwalking his way in the Derby.
Oh man, let's screw that. I'm super excited for these races.
Are you? Oh yeah, I bet you are. Oh man. All right. Time for Rapid Fire, presented by Racing Dudes Best Bets. You heard us talk about it a little bit earlier. Racing Dudes Best Bets is here, and it's here to stay. Go to racingdudes.com, click on the main menu there, and you'll see Best Bets highlighted. By the way, Alterman, got my 6th strikeout with that guy, plus 180. Hit both bets, baseball bets. One plus 80, one was plus 150. They took him out the next batter.
Oh, nice.
I had plus 5.5 strikeouts. He got 6. They took him out, dude. So sometimes I've been burned more times than not on the other way, where you need one more and they take the guy out. But this time it worked out nicely. So the best bets, had a huge day there for myself. Just make sure you can go to racingdudes.com, click on the best bets, myself, Halterman, Magic, everybody on there. You can see how we're doing. You can see the best bets, the ones that we've hit, the ones we haven't, the ones we've missed. You'll see the ones that are available for today or each day. How we like, it's not just sports, it's horse racing, of course, as well. Especially on the weekends, we hammer those races. So make sure you go check out the best page at racingdudes.com. All right, guys, let's kick things off here at Belmont Park. Last time we saw this horse, I think we were all cussing and throwing something at Irad Ortiz. Race 9 at Belmont Park, the Beto Roses Stakes. Grade 2 Saturday, 200K, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. Going 7 furlongs, number 1, Goodnight Olive, your 6-5 morning line favorite. I think I'm more interested in the fact that there's 7-2 on Wicked Halo, 5-2 on Caramel Swirl. All these horses are somewhat semi, low odds. 6-5 on Goodnight Olive. Do you think we'll get that? And are you hesitant to play her at all after somehow she lost last time out?
Well, look, I'm not hesitant to play her, price depending. I think the way you're going to have to do it is put her on top of an exacta and pick your second horse and try to create value that way, because I don't think 6-5 is going to happen. But look, I mean, anybody that watched the race last time out knows what happened. Yeah, the jockey got her beat, period. And even worse for you, and this is why the Kentucky Derby thing, it just was a house of horrors the whole time, because you had the horse in second as well. So if you Maturea over Goodnight Olive would have been a really nice cash for you as well. And Irad was so bad he didn't even get second. So look, it's just a short field, sure, but it was a short field last time. But surely he won't get her in that kind of trouble. As long as he doesn't, this horse should win. She's better than these horses. So we shall see, Jared. We shall see.
Yeah, it was one of those cases where I thought it's either Maturea or Goodnight Olive that are going to win here. So I played them both. I played those two. I think I played those two, 1-2, then I played Wicked Halo in third or something like that. And the whole time I'm thinking I've got this because Goodnight All. I mean, worst case scenario, like she just needs to get second and shit. She just I mean, the whole time you're thinking you got to get out, right? You're gonna get out. You're gonna get out. Didn't get out. So she was much the best the first time in the Madison. She was much the best that day. I mean, I'm hoping we get anywhere near 6-5. We probably won't, but I just think I mean, hopeful that Wicked Halo can get a little money because she did beat her last time out, and you got Caramel Swirl in there who ran well last time out. But I just think Goodnight Olive is. I mean, if she wins that race like she would have last time out. She would be like 3-5, 2-5 on the morning line. So I think if we can get anywhere in that ballpark, there's no way Goodnight Olive. I mean, I don't know if I would condone
No,
20,000 to
no,
show on Goodnight Olive.
no, no,
Um,
nope, nope, nope. Do not do
nope,
that.
don't do that.
Mm-mm.
But I would condone picking her to win. Goodnight Olive for me, no doubt about it. She's gonna win here. Don't even suggest that, Mike.
Never,
That's a
ever, ever
terrible
do that.
play.
Mm-mm. Don't do that.
I mean, like it seems like free money right now.
It, do the math. I mean, you will end up getting completely burned if you do that enough.
All right, let's go to Monmouth Park, race 10, the Pegasus Stakes at worth 150K at Monmouth Park, of course. The 3-year-olds go to mile 16, field of 8 shows up here 8-5 on your favorite, all the way to the outside, the 8-horse Kings Barnes. Last time we saw this horse, he's backpedaling in the Kentucky Derby. Classic Catch is also in here for Todd Pletcher. You've got Salute the Stars for Brad Cox. Subrogate at 5-1, has been running really well. Kind of looks like the quote unquote upsetter here, I guess, at 5-1. How great is Nate at 6-1? But listen, it really comes from me. It comes down to: do you think Kings Barnes? What do you think of him? I guess is he going to bounce back after the Derby? And if he's not, is the other Pletcher that can get the job done?
I think Subrigate's going to beat him. I really like Subrigate here. I'm going to go with a little bit of an upset. I've never been a huge fan of Kings Barnes. I do think Kings Barnes is the most likely winner of this race as far as what he's done. He obviously is the class of the race, but I don't think he's getting the lead here. I think Subrigate can go out there and get the lead from him. I think it'll kind of, we're gonna have to work out a little bit of a trip. I'm not saying Kings Barnes a bad pick, but I'm going to try to beat him. I think Subrigate can beat him. I think the other Pletcher, Classic Catch, could beat him. I think Salute the Stars could beat him. I'm going to try to beat him in the spot with those 3 horses. But I'm going Subrigate, gate to wire. This is a son of Arrogate. He should love stretching out. He got beat by a really good horse on debut and then came back and ran very good in his second start. I think if he gets out in front and gets comfortable, I think he's going to be tough to run down. So give me the 6 in a mild upset.
I actually don't hate that at all. I almost picked the horse just because of exactly what you laid out to kind of loosen the lead. I think everybody is kind of assuming that like, hey, like cheap speed, but I don't know that it's going to be cheap speed. I mean, it could be stretching out. We don't know, but that horse has ran really, really well the first 2 starts. I'm cautiously optimistic on Kings Barnes. I think I love the fact the size is aboard.
Yeah.
That's a great, great improvement there. Rode the horse on debut, of course, won on debut. That horse he kind of came from off of it that time. Did actually the first couple starts, and then did kind of get to the lead in Louisiana Derby. Kind of just happened. They crawled, and then Kentucky Derby. I think everybody can ever. The people that watched the Derby that didn't know the Derby were like, "What is that horse doing? Why are they going that fast?" That was crazy. Just a wild ride, and from everything we've heard, and Spendthrift and Pletcher not happy with the ride, and it shows because he's off the mount and size is a back aboard. So I think Kings Barnes drawing outside, gets outside of that, gets kind of sit off that speed a little bit, the 6, and I still think he's classy enough to get the job done. I do think the one Classic Catch is somewhat interesting. I'll be honest, I hated the last 2 races from the horse. I thought I really was interested in the horse going into the Wood Memorial. The Wood Memorial was an awful race. And look, he's awful in those last two races. I get it. He got beat by Arcangelo and that Peter Pan, but he was well beaten. Henry Q beat this horse in that race. So I'm not all that interested in what Classic Catch really here. So I think it's either the 6 or the 8. I'm going to go the 8, Kings Barnes. All right, let's go to the next race here. Race 11, the Eatontown Stakes, grade 3, 150K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1/116 miles on the turf. Field of 8 shows up for this one, and kind of a tough to kind of find a favorite here. Consumer Spending 7-2, 7-2 unsurprisingly for Shug, 3-1 on Gino Romantica, Malafath 4-1, Scottish Star 6-1. I mean, the list goes on. You can very much see there's not a clear favorite of the race. So who are you going with?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a wide open one here. I went number 8, Gina Romantica, on top in this spot. I thought her last race in the QE2 Cup at Keeneland was super good. Beat McCulloch, a horse that we like a little bit. And coming off of a layoff, but that never really worries me with Chad Brown horses. I think if she fires her best, she's going to be awfully tough in here. Really interested how the 6 Malafath kind of rebounds from just a horrific effort. First time for Clement, last time out. See if she gets a little bit better. I also like Scottish Star a little bit as well. But on top, I'm going to go Gina Romantica.
Yeah, the 6 to me is what I was like. I almost picked that horse, but that race was so bad. I mean, you kind of wonder too, like, okay, the Breeders' Cup Mile, didn't run bad, but didn't, also the buyer is inflated because of the race. And then that last race obviously was pathetic. So what is the horse really? Got to be better than the last one out. But I didn't want to play that horse at 4-1. So I actually ended up landing on the 1, surprisingly. I think this horse is interesting here for Shug. This distance, likes the distance. The last two starts, the horse just kind of ran out of room a little bit, just kind of getting going. It seemed like Market Segmentation beat this horse last time out. Consumer Spending did as well, but Market Segmentation, obviously a very good horse. So the fact that this horse is coming back, I think it only bodes well. And you're getting the Paco Lopez kind of angle a little bit for me. He loves Monmouth. He's a great rider at Monmouth Park, obviously. And Shug has used him at 2 of the last 3 starts, including a win in the Endeavor at Tampa, going to mile 16. So I do think this horse is interesting. In a situation where I do think there will be a little bit of pace in the race, I like the 1 to show up late in the race and kind of get that Paco ride. So I'm going to go number 1, surprisingly, to win here. All right, let's go to race 12, the Salvador Mile Stakes, grade 3, worth 150K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile. Field of 10 lines up here, 3-1 on number 9, Artorias. And dude, I had to do like a triple take on that one. I was like, Artorias, like, yeah, is that? And I looked at the past form. I was like, holy shit, that's the Artorias, the notorious Artorias that we last saw at least last summer. But this is a horse that there was a time that Artorias was like the winner of the Travers. Well, for a lot of people thought this horse was going to win the Travers, but won the Curlin, went into the Travers, was like 9-1 in the Travers, didn't run worth a shit. Then went, Perryville, didn't run worth a shit that day. Hasn't seen since October of last year. Artorias, are you picking Artorias off that layoff?
No, I'm not. I'm not one of those that was overly high on him. I was there Curlin Day when he won, and we all picked him on Curlin Day, and he won at 5-2. And he won like a really good horse. But the problem is when you started to analyze who was behind him, you realize, well, he should have won that race if he was any good at all. Trounced in the Travers, trounced again at Keeneland. So, look, I don't think he's the worst pick, but he's not going to be for me. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, pick 4, pick 5, pick 3, all that kind of stuff yet. He might make the ticket, but I'm against him as far as a top pick. I went with a 10-1 shot here. We'll see. I've had some luck with this horse on a few occasions at a pretty good price. I went number 6, Octane, on top in the spot. I like the mile for him. You look at the last race at Gulfstream Park was a mile and then a nice win. And then 4 or 5 races back, also a nice second in the Hooper behind Endorse going a mile. So I like this horse. I think Octane shows up here with a pretty good shot. David has a really nice record at Monmouth Park. I think he shows up here with this horse ready. I think he's the inside speed. So give me the number 6 Octane and a little bit of an upset here.
Yeah, I looked at him for a while just because I kind of looked at the race, thought, okay, who's speedy? Who could maybe go out and steal this thing? And I looked at him for a while, but I kind of ultimately ended up going on the one Petulant, I think is how you say that name. Gets Saez back aboard, who riding for Barboza, who hit for 33%, but Saez has ridden this horse the last 2 efforts, including a nice win last time out. I'm sorry, you may not pick this horse because you hate this horse. I understand why. Do you remember this horse?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, King Ottoman. You had a big bet on King Ottoman. Looked like a winner the whole stretch. This horse never let him by. I actually watched that replay and I thought, oh no, Halterman's not going to want to talk about this horse. But listen, I thought this horse, ran huge that day. Ran huge the race before that as well. I just think this is a horse that loves this distance, gets the inside. Kind of it can be versatile, but I do think the horse can go gate to wire if need be. So yeah, give me the one Petulant. I think this at 9-2. Hopefully this horse doesn't get bet. I also thought riding with Biden was interesting. Don't shoot me for that, but I just think that horse might not take any money, and it could be an upsetter here. Last time we saw this horse was in the Pegasus World Cup and just got trounced by 54 lengths, but obviously getting a little bit of class relief here. But that's 5-1 needs to be floated up to like 15-1 for me to play riding with Biden.
Yeah, needs to increase the odds. Nimitz Class, the 8 horse. I thought that one was interesting too. Coming off a lot of wins in a row, kind of a big step up compared to Laurel and Parks, but still one that I looked at as well. So it's a wide open race in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree. It's I do think this is a sequence that's going to be wild. There's always that 1 or 2 races at Monmouth where it just make no sense whatsoever. But it makes it fun to play if you can get lucky. All right, last one here, race 13, Monmouth Stakes. At grade 3 with 150K for 3-year-olds and up, going 1 1/8 miles on the turf. Field of 6. Shows up here, Chad Brown and Tribuven at 9-5. Are you gonna go with Chad Brown? I don't know if you picked a Chad Brown yet. I haven't, but am I gonna pick a Chad Brown? We'll see. Are you going with the speedster, the speed of speed in this race? It feels like number 1, Tribuven.
Yeah, I'm gonna go number 1, Tribuven on top. I just think he's a little bit better than this group. If he gets out to the front, he's drawn the rail as well. I just think if he gets out to the front, he's going to be in good shape. So hopefully he gets an aggressive ride. He really loves Monmouth Park. We've seen him at his best at this track. So give me the 1. Give me the horse on the rail here. We'll see if he can get it done again.
Hopefully Flo can't screw this up because I just feel like it's like, dude, this one just seems way too easy to me. Just run him. Just go. Because 1 is a horse that typically is running like 1.5 miles, 1.375 miles, 1.25. Now we're going 1.1 1/8. It's low, shortening the distance for him. It's a track he loves. Yeah, we haven't seen him since last summer. That is the issue, right? But I mean, he towers over this field in terms of class. And it's like it almost feels like a race where it's like not going to be like an overly impressive race from him, but it's just going to be like, yeah, he's just better than the rest of that field. So he goes gate to wire and maybe gets a little tight late, but nothing too bad. And I just think he's like the poor man's version of an Italian. He like the very poor version. I don't even want to put those two in the same sentence, but kind of similar in terms of can still race on the front end. So I'm with you. Got the 1. Tribuven. I always think of wasn't it Slim that was yelled that?
Oh yeah. He was drunk at Saratoga in the podcast yelling that.
Yeah, that's it.
Those were the days. Right.
All right, it's all done. We have checked out at racingdudes.com for our free picks, of course, our premium selections and our best bets at racingdudes.com on the products page and the best bets page. You can click the Get Racing Dudes premium button or best bets on the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember, we're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off visiting our podcast page on the website, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places you listen to we are there. Speaking of podcasts, the Magic Mike Show will be going tomorrow because they're doing the Sunday Santa Anita Rainbow Pick 6 preview. So tomorrow you'll see the Magic Mike Show. I assume it'll be at the same time as they normally are, 4 o'clock. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
4
I guess.
Central?
I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, we don't know, but that's just look for it. Anyways, final thoughts.
Go Guardians, go White Sox. That's my two bets tonight. Guardians lead 6-3, but their pitcher's not having a great night, so we'll see what happens. And then White Sox. So here we go.
Dude, it's about that time of the year for people to start hating me again. Well, they may hate me all year. I don't know. But Patrick Mahomes, have you seen the previews for the new or the trailer for the new Netflix series called Quarterback?
No, I haven't.
Quarterbacks, I don't know. They filmed. It's funny when you look at the 3 quarterbacks. It's like, it's how did they get? How did you pull Mahomes? They filmed 3 quarterbacks throughout the whole season last year. Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota. So a third of that show will be really good, okay? But it's like all mic'd up stuff, behind the scenes stuff, and of course, Mahomes winning the Super Bowl, winning MVP of the Super Bowl. Of course, the injury, and there's some I'm telling you, man, it got me a little excited. Not gonna lie, very in all the weird ways.
Yeah, well,
I'm excited for it, and I can't wait to start talking about it more. Seriously, though, go watch the trailer. It's really good.
I will.
I don't know where even Kirk Cousins, I can kind of understand. I mean, he's you have Justin Jefferson, pretty good offense there, but it's like Marcus Mariota. How did you land on that one?
I feel like Kirk Cousins will be interesting. Mariota will be very uninteresting. I totally agree. Yeah, I don't know where the story is with that one.
It's like, let's just watch him scramble and throw terrible passes and basically get Kyle Pitts killed all season.
Yeah,
he literally does kill him at the end of the season. So
yeah.
But no, it just now that it's like it's hard to not only does June, July, August, the summer come with horse racing, but it's like we're gearing up for football already. It seems like, and ready to see my boy Pat Mahomes and have the end of the show talk about him so everybody could turn it off.
Well, I think this is this time period between the Belmont and Saratoga starting is the worst, because Saratoga Del Mar start, it's like, oh, it's amazing. You're so hyped for it. And then once it's over, football's here, right? And that carries you all into the next year. So
yeah,
this is like a real, can we just get this 3 week period over with? And really it's the last 2 weeks in June, because July really kind of starts with a bang, because you got the Stephen Foster and those big days, and then you've got the Belmont Derby and that big day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's these last 2 weeks in June, it's just like, come on, give us something.
And then you've got all the gearing up for Saratoga and horses pointing to that first weekend, and all the 2-year-old racing, and getting geared up. So it's like, we will be at Saratoga. I saw a couple questions earlier. I don't know how many times, but at least a couple times. Definitely the Travers. That's turned into a staple for us. I don't know if we go. We've been to the Whitney a few times. Maybe the Whitney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where is your state? Oh, the Breeders' Cup, California.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
I've never missed the Breeders' Cup since we've been in it, and you've missed one, which was your second year. So, which was all the way back to 2008, right? 2008 was the year she won.
No, it'd be 2009.
2009. Yeah, 2010. Yeah. It's last, but we've been going since then. So, kind of started it off of. It's like we started with the biggest heartbreak of all time at the Breeders' Cup, and never stopped going. So, oh, you're going first time, Ronnie? Sweet. Nice. VIP tickets. The Breeders' Cup. Listen, the Breeders' Cup is, especially Santa Anita. It's my favorite place to have the Breeders' Cup. The weather's awesome. the track's so huge that it never feels totally crowded.
Yeah.
You go to Keeneland, you go to some of these tracks where it's like it's great, but Churchill is a little bit like that, but still, it's not the same. Especially when you have the weather. It's just the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita is it's awesome. It's the
Yeah,
best.
I think it's my favorite venue for it. Yeah, I agree. Del Mar's cool, but the facility's not quite like Santa Anita. Santa Anita's built for big events for
Yeah,
sure.
it's like the one time of the year it feels like that they actually it's built for what they have.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but no, yeah, we'll definitely be there. Hopefully, we have a hell of 2 days there. So, yeah, Rodney, just we'll again, all you gotta do is entice us with free booze, and we will come meet you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes.
Yep, that's it.
Some of our best friends in racing started it off with offering us free beer, but not even
Oh,
racing. Some of our best friends in life are people that
yeah.
started by, "Hey, you guys want to meet? I'll buy you a beer." We're
All
like,
right, yeah.
"I don't want to meet that guy," and then I saw beer. Like, all right, okay, we'll go. Next thing you know, can't get rid of them. All right,
Nope.
guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend.